This video contains elements that are not suitable for people under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, I do not own any of the songs in this video. All rights go to the respective copyright holders. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, a lover of animation, reality shows, and music, and I think this video will cement my appreciation for that last one because holy cannoli 2012. I said in my worst list that, despite the candidates I included in that video, this year had a reputation for being one of the best years for music in the entire 2010s, if not the best year altogether. Yes, 2015 and 2019 give it a run for its money, but I still think 2012 has a good case for outdoing them completely. I've yet to even consider if those years merited an expanded top 10 best hit songs list, but this one felt like a no-brainer. I found so many top tier songs that I couldn't just restrict it to 10. So in celebration of this year, I decided to add 2 more entries. And if anyone objects to these proceedings, speak now or forever hold your peace. Get out of here, Shrek. But yeah, I'm going over 12 entries this time instead of just the usual 10. Otherwise, the same format as I've always used. It started with a whisper. Only songs from the Billboard Year-End Hot 100 for 2012 are eligible, except for those that charted higher in a different year. So songs like Adorn, Diamonds, Home, and Die Young won't be on this list, even though they'd be high in contention otherwise. Aside from that, you'll be seeing a lot of old favorites and maybe even a few surprises here and there on this list. And with all that build-up, I cannot wait any longer, so let's get started. Let's see what songs gave me a good feeling and became a part of me. This is a list of what I consider the top 12 best hit songs of 2012. Number 12. So, if you want the best indicator for how good this year was, yep, this is only at number 12. This year was stacked like a cheerleading squad at a pep rally. Strap in. Now and then I think of when we were together. Yeah, if I hadn't included an extra 2 spots to this list, this would have missed out. That's how amazing this year was. Not that this song can't afford to miss out, because this is kind of another Rolling in the Deep situation. A stupid long-running #1 hit, eventually becoming the biggest hit of that year, with practically unanimous praise and lyrics going over the aftermath of a breakup. So when we found that we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends. I almost considered just skipping over it entirely, since it's been taught to death at this point by the public, press, my peers, and even myself already, but that'd be robbing all of you of a good segment, so let me see what angle hasn't been tackled. Well, how about I elaborate on that Rolling the Deep comparison for a second, because they do have a lot in common, but obviously not everything. For one, they sound pretty different, with Adele having an Empire State Building size scope to her song, and Gautier scaling it back significantly, except for in his vocals during the chorus where a fatally wounded Sting suddenly takes over, it sounds like. I actually don't mean that as an insult, but that is what he sounds like, right? I don't even need your love, but you treat me like a stranger, and that feels so rough. And that's where Gautier and Adele vary. Both are singing about how wronged they feel after the breakup, but you know to root for Adele because she's playing offensive, whereas Gautier is so defensive, he created a prison out of the shield surrounding him. But that's also what makes this song so compelling. I love Adele kicking ass, but there is a strong fascination with someone leaning into being the villain of their own story. But I don't wanna live that way, reading into every word you say. Though thankfully, just like Rolling in the Deep, this song also contains some massive female empowerment, as Kimber comes in just to add salt to the wound. Again, I don't mean that in a bad way, I think that was intentional. Now and then I think of all the times
just screwed me over.
What's funny is, Gautier talks about how his ex changed her phone number and isn't even trying to interact with him. So my guess is, Kimbra's verse is either something she said as they split up, or something she said on social media after the fact. But whatever the situation, those are things Cody from Total Drama World Tour would likely do after the season just to get away from Sierra.
There, there, cutie pie.
As he very much should. I'm not saying Gautier is as bad as Sierra. I'd rather believe we don't live in that world. But the picture this song paints is pretty clear-cut, and I appreciate that directness. Plus, oh man, that production. If you told me one of the biggest breakup songs of the decade was going to have a xylophone as the prominent instrument, I'd assume that would suck. Not to diss xylophones, but I only ever recall them being the instruments preschoolers were given. They struck me as kind of childish. But my narrow-minded ass never took into account the advantages they could hold. Like with this song where the xylophone actually cuts through the concrete hardened tension, so it's not just a whiny mope fest like It Will Rain.
You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness, like resignation to the end, always the end.
It is no wonder I listened to this song so many times in high school. Oh yeah, I probably made this the #1 song of the year just by my views of its music video on YouTube. That's dedication.
Somebody that you used to know, but you didn't have to cut me off.
The only reason this song isn't any higher on this list is because the competition was like a wooden board covered in starch, dangerously stiff. And I just feel there are some other diamonds in the rough that have gotten less discussion on the whole that deserve a chance in the limelight as well. With that said, if you haven't already, listen to the entirety of Making Mirrors. I know I just harped on this song getting more attention than the other songs that year, but the artists in question deserve a lot more love too. So check out Making Mirrors and any work by Kimbra too. I'm partial to Past Love myself. These artists created such an amazing smash but gained almost no significant attention afterwards that it almost feels like a crime, and one that we need to bring to justice. They might have been some bodies we used to know, but we shouldn't have lost touch with them.
I used to know somebody.
Number 11. Hey, so have you ever met that person at school or at work with a really big personality that everyone seemed to love, but you couldn't stand because you thought they were full of themselves? But then you actually gave them a chance and realized they're not actually so bad. In fact, they're kind of fun to be around. What I'm saying is a song by Jessie J is on this list. Yeah, I love this song. I'm iffy on the pizza though. Okay, I did intend to elongate this list to add more context to a bunch of underappreciated songs from this year, but this one's kind of straightforward. I love this song for the same reason I love Bruno Mars songs from 2013 onward.
You got me losing my mind. My heart beats out of time.
That slick, shiny, disco-y guitar riff is something I am utterly hook, line, and sinker for. Yes, the production was done in part by Dr. Kesha Onju, but I gotta talk about the song and not the man for a second because that appeal I mentioned is still present here.
I can taste the tension like a cloud of smoke in the air. Now I'm breathing like I'm running 'cause you're taking me there.
And it's not just in the music, it's also in the lyrics. The basic idea is that Jessie is having some rockin' good sex, and she uses some colorful metaphors to describe it. I think I'll do a rundown of my favorites.
I'm feeling sexy and free, like glitter's raining on me.
Well, it sounds like Gary from Big Brother Canada would share the appeal.
What is it about glitter? I mean, glitter is everything.
You're like a shot of pure gold.
So, whoever Jessie is banging is like Mr. Bean's apple cider?
Burns in your throat, boils in your stomach, tastes almost exactly like pure melted
"You strum me like a guitar." Is this what she's referring to?
When my hands don't play the strings the same way.
Well, thank goodness Jessie makes that sound hot, because Eddie doesn't make it look hot. Yeah, that's the song's other best quality. Jessie is having the time of her life when performing. It really does sound like she's having her world rocked when she's singing that. There are New Year's Eve parties that don't pack as much excitement as Jessie J does here. And I have so much fun dancing to this that it almost distracts from the one elephant in the room regarding this song. Okay, one of two elephants in the room, the plagiarism lawsuit. This is Bright Red Chords by Loomis and the Lust. They sued Jessie J and Universal Records for stealing the melody from their song to hers. And I listened to it and yeah, the verses sound damn near cloned.
I put the needle in a groove to a song that fits the mood.
But the courses are unique to each other, and the lawsuit was dismissed since no proof was found to incriminate the defendants. And also probably because it sounds like Bright Red Chords took parts of its melody from The Clash anyways.
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
All of music is just a 7th grade classroom. We can't keep our eyes on our own work, can we? I know this segment's pretty short, but I do seriously love the hell out of this song. Yes, it's doing the same thing Katy Perry did, but not only is Jessie a better live singer, but she does add more authority to her singing as well. I like sex songs that are modest, but this doubles as just an incredibly tuneful dance song to boot as well. What else can I say? Every second of this song is a highlight, and when I hear it, I never want to let it go. Although letting go of Dr. Luke would not be the end of the world. Get on that, Hollywood. Number 10. Let's talk about Closer by the Chainsmokers featuring Halsey.
Hey, I was doing just fine before I met you.
I've joked about my enjoyment of that song being a hot take, but I'm not sure it is anymore. Maybe it felt like it when the song was released, since the most we knew about the Chainsmokers and Halsey was...
But first, let me take a selfie.
less than promising, to put it kindly.
Baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover.
But over time, the song did kind of manifest itself into being the millennium-defining track it kept being proclaimed as. I guess because it just became relatable to the problems people in that target demographic were facing, especially in regards to romances, being torn apart by time and now seeing each other again and recollecting memories from your youthful love or relationship, some of which involve listening to music from alt-rock artists and drinking alcohol. And in hindsight, none of us should be surprised a song like that did so well, because 2012 had its own Closer, and went something like this. Cannot think of a better approach for this song than comparing it to Closer, because that's genuinely what kept popping in my head from the opening lyrics.
Summer after high school when we first met, we make out in your Mustang to Radiohead.
Stay and play that Blink-182 song that we beat to death in Tucson.
Used to steal your parents' liquor and climb to the roof. Talk about a future like we had a clue.
I was doing just fine before I met you. I drink too much and that's an issue, but I'm okay.
Yeah, tell me these two songs aren't about the exact same thing.
Never one without the other, we made it apart.
But beyond that, these two songs do have a lot in common, like the feelings of regret over a failed relationship that permeate the entire lyrical sentiment, and the fact that both main artists in question aren't the best vocalists before auto-tune is added to the mix.
Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar and I can't stop.
Can't replace you with a million arrangements.
But that's not a slam against these artists because you can still use that to your advantage. The Chainsmokers did so by having their indifference be in direct contrast to Halsey's over emotional delivery. And Katy Perry sounds not raw, but like the rarest a state can possibly be without being raw. It's not the easiest thing to chew on, but it's still ripe for consumption.
On my 18th birthday, we got matching tattoos.
Though as much as I play out the similarities these songs share, they do have a couple differences too. For one, the production is much drearier and closer, though not nearly as dreary as the rest of 2016 by comparison, whereas the one that got away has a much lighter, upbeat mood set behind it, which is no surprise given to us by a production by Max Martin and... who else? Dr. Luke. Seriously, I know this came out 10 years ago, but of all the people to have this much talent for making catchy beats, I kept them around to this present day.
I was tuned and you were my Johnny Cash.
But I guess it makes sense for a song to sound like this, since the emphasis is on the good times during an earlier stage of Katie's life.
Sometimes when I miss you, I put those records on. Whoa.
And said emphasis is another contrast between this and Closer. Closer isn't really about one thing, it's about both a relationship and an existential crisis. Katy Perry is just singing about the former.
In another life, I would make you stay, so I don't have to say you were the one that got away.
Neither of these songs are better than the other for how many subjects they cover. It's really up to which you prefer. The complexity of Closer or the simplicity of the one that got away. And given what this look back's goal is, a nostalgic escape from the troubles of today, yeah, a simpler song is what my brain was really due for.
Should've told you what you meant to me. Whoa.
Also give Katy credit, she sells this relationship. Having such vivid details of their time together, comparing themselves to June Carter and Johnny Cash, and all because she dated Josh Groban for a little bit. Yeah, this song is about Josh Groban. I don't feel like that gets brought up enough. I wonder what he thinks about it, actually. Josh, what are your thoughts?
It's very sweet of her to say that, and then I listened to the lyrics of the song, and I'm just like, oh, no, I never owned a Mustang. I don't have a tattoo. Are you sure that's about me? I'm very flattered by it, but I was very surprised by it, too.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess we'll chalk it up to artistic liberties then. I wouldn't complain about it. She made him sound as cool as Johnny Cash. I just take the compliment.
In another life, I would make you stay.
Mostly I love this song because along with being lively and danceable, it's got a strong emotional core that Katy sells like hotcakes at McDonald's at 8 in the morning, and still maintains relevance into the modern day, where the music of 2012 is so dearly missed. All of those elements combined together make for what I consider one of the most underrated gems of Katy Perry's entire career. I know it was a hit, but it's literally called the one that got away. I think it earns that distinction.
The one that got away. The one that got away.
Number 9. Speaking of Katy Perry, did you know she once did a cover of Neighbors in Paris?
So I got so hard, my ex wanna find me. First thing you gotta find me. What's 50 grand, 2 more for lucky? Please remind me.
This actually exists.
I'm just saying, Prince Will ain't do it right if you ask me. Cause I was him, I would've married Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, perfect segue into my next segment, which, by the way, is also a tie. If you have photosensitive epilepsy, shield your eyes until this timestamp. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds before we start. We good? Good. Let's go!
Let's go, let's go!
And... Yeah, I lied about this being a top 12 because of course I did. This year was genuinely that good. I feel like pop music and indie rock get the most credit for 2012 being a standout year, but there is no reason hip hop wouldn't have had high points as well. And it's fitting that 2 of these highlights at least partially came from an artist that I have more questions about than there are answers for, but I'm here to talk more about the music behind the man. And during this period, he was very much like Santa Claus. He delivered and you were pumped up all the way to the day he dropped his musical gifts into your lap. And as I usually do, I'm going to talk about these songs in order of release date, starting with the one whose name I won't say, so I'm just gonna keep calling it Neighbors in Paris.
So hard, motherfuckers wanna find me. First nigga gotta find me. What's 50 grand to a motherfucker like me? Can you please remind me?
I should preface this by saying I prefer the version from the music video rather than the album itself. No offense to it, it's good too, but the live version gives a larger-than-life presence that artists like Jay-Z and Ye would obviously possess. And I understand the trade-off is the seizure-inducing video, which, yeah, what was Ye thinking around this time? But at least the kaleidoscope cinematography and sharp focus do come forth when they tone it down. But enough about the video, what about the song?
So hard, got a broke clock. Rollies that don't tick-tock. All the Mars that's losing time. Hidden behind all these sick rocks.
This song is way smarter than it has any right to be, given it contains a clip from Blades of Glory.
And we just went gorillas. I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
For the record, that reference is awesome. In fact, if I was ranking the top 5 best lyrics in the song, it'd be near, if not at the top. But it is still a stupid risk to take. It's like a modern-day rapper referencing Jack and Jill in a rap song. It's setting the bar kinda low, isn't it?
So hard, I'm shocked too. I'm supposed to be knocked up too. You escape, but I escape. You need grass, get fucked up.
But it does pay off because the song is primarily macho posturing between the 2 artists, and while I wouldn't say it's high R, I don't think it cares to be called that.
I don't care about that in any way. Please f*** off, I have a banana.
Despite using Paris as the inspiration for several of these lyrics, it's more used for just a cool saying to put these rappers in. Kinda like having dinosaurs on a spaceship. It could be complete crap and you'd still watch that. Thankfully, this song isn't complete crap and I like it a lot.
So hard, motherfuckers wanna find me. That shit crack. That shit crack.
That beat they put together is pretty killer, and the lyrics, even for their simple purpose, do a much better job of building these artists up than, say, Eminem did in Lighters.
Pardon me if I'm a cocky prick, but you cocks are slick, popping shit on how you flipped your life around. Rock a shit.
Yeah, that song displayed a ton of insecurities from Marshall unintentionally, whereas this song has the artist brush off any critiques you could give them because they're motherfucking Jay-Z and Ye. They can take a couple losses and it's no big deal.
So hard, this shit crazy. Don't know that no shit phase me. Let's go. Oh, for 82 when I look at you like this shit crazy.
And they indeed play it off like dirt off their shoulders. Pun intended.
That shit crack. Ain't it Jay? So hard. What she order? Fish fillet.
Also, it helps that the song is funny as hell, even without the Will Ferrell quote. Mostly because of Ye, of course, but when an artist makes me laugh, I kinda respect it either way, whether it's intentional or not. Was this intentional?
She said, yeah, can we get married at the mile? I said, look, you need to cry for you bow. Come and meet me in the bathroom style. And show me why you deserve to have it out. Let's go.
Probably, but I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out to be by accident still. Because I can tell that at this point in his career, Ye still wanted to be recognized as a serious artist. So on the off chance he was going to be seen as a joke, he dropped this mega opus.
Okay, Lamborghini Mercy. Yo chick, she so thirsty. I'm in that 2C Lambo with your girl, she tryna jerk me. Okay, Lamborghini Mercy. Yo chick, she so thirsty.
Yep, a huge posse cut with 2 Chainz, Pusha T, and Big Sean, whose work I actually like a lot more than you might think. I know I've bashed Big Sean for my last, but I feel like that song is the man being like,
I'ma need the baddest broad to twerk off in this motherfucker. I'ma go hard until it hurts off in this motherfucker. I'm a boss, so you gotta work off in this motherfucker.
Well, every other rapper, it's not really his strong point. He needs that sense of humor to separate himself from the pack, and he delivered that to us in spades in 2012.
Right on the ass.
For example. Also, he references Paris in these lyrics too.
Now we out in Perry. Yeah, I'm Perry.
Whether that was a direct tie-in to that other song or not is beyond me, but it's a neat connection either way. And along with that, this song has the same concept as Neighbors by just brag rapping all over the place.
My Audemars like Mardi Gras, that's Swiss time and that's excellence. 2-door preference, roof gone, George Jefferson.
I don't care about how basic that is as long as it's done well, and this is a great material. And I'm not just saying that because 2 Chainz did too.
Grade A1, train to color Akon.
It's also a testament to how good every artist is on this that even 2 Chainz, best known for the unforgettable classic I'm Different, just repeats the word horsepower 3 times and is still pretty engaging too.
Horsepower, all this polo on, I got horsepower.
I don't have any unique commentary regarding Pusha T's verses. They're great as well. In fact, this is another song you could do a top 5 best lyrics segment for, but I genuinely do not have all day on this one. And besides, it's not what matters most in the end. Every artist you see is just a build up to Ye's cinematic entrance. Except for 2 Chainz, whose verse came after Ye's, but I digress.
I step in Def Jam building like I'm the shit. Tell them give me 50 million, I'ma quit.
And you know, Ye's star power here kinda shows I was missing something in All the Lights from last year. I like that song a lot, but not nearly as much as most other people did. It had a huge scope and gigantic lyrics, but I don't know, I felt like I needed a break from the spectacle every once in a while. Mercy gives me that.
It's prime time, my top back, this pimp game, ho. I'm red leather, this cocaine, I'm Rick James, ho.
It's like watching the climax of Avengers Endgame with every performer being an individual fight scene from one of the Avengers, and then just as you're taking a well-deserved breath, out of nowhere,
let the suicide doors up. I do suicides on the tour bus. I do suicides on the private jet.
Yes. That's how powerful Ye feels to me here. His lyrics have technically the least punch to them on paper, but he provides the most punch to them when you bring the sample down and keep the production more minimal. And speaking of, this beat is equally stellar to Neighbors.
Why she tryna jerk me?
Heavily sampled from Just a Sound Boy by Super Beagle with the help of 5 separate producers, this gives the same headbanging sensation a classic metal song would give, and with a lot more cohesion than Starships, which, may I remind you, had 2 fewer producers. And this song managed to sound better despite one of its producers being this guy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Let's be honest, he'll never live that down.
You are now watching the throne. Don't let me get in my zone. Don't let me get in my zone.
What do we take away from all this? Well, that Ye is the man for one thing. What the takeaway I get from these songs is that even the most cut and paste template of rapping to hype yourself up can still be astonishing when the work put into the details that make it unique is thorough and well thought out. Are either of these songs the most intelligent hip-hop in the world? Not by a long shot, but are they among the best hip-hop of 2012? Absolutely, positively. And they only barely made my top 10. Think about that.
Rockefeller Records. It's a glorious occasion.
It is now when it comes to the mic song with the champion sound.
Number 8. And now, the award for the most fitting title of any song the Billboard year in this for 2012 goes to... Mark Ronden's Best Hits Song of 2012. Have I mentioned this list is packed like a can of sardines? Because it is.
Tell me how you feel. What's your fantasy? I see it's on the beach down in Mexico. You can put your feet up. Be my senorita. We ain't gotta rush, just take it slow.
Now, let's forget any jokes about Bobby Ray's belief of the shape of our planet for 1 second and just focus on the song itself. Because between all of B.o.b's major hits in the early 2010s, I think I really miss him being a big star. Seriously, you got this, Magic, Nothing on You, Airplanes, all strong pop rap classics I still love and remember to this day. So why did B.o.b have to drop off the face of the earth? I said forget those jokes for a second. Now let's be serious here. Did B.o.b's career really merit him being taken out of the spotlight?
Okay, mommy. What's up?
Oh, sweet Delilah.
Dame tu cuello, 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 cuello.
This came out in 2018, didn't it? How did I guess?
¿Qué estás haciendo? Dame tu culo. Culo. Culo.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This is what B.o.b devolved into?
They just said it ain't logical. Now I can see it. It's optical.
Okay, his post-2012 career wasn't all bad. It never quite got to his peak again, but listening to his singles when the production had even a passing resemblance to his early 2010s material, it was still pretty solid.
You can put your feet up, be my senorita. We ain't gotta rush, just take it slow.
And in this song's case, I suppose you can attribute that to Ryan Tedder's 5-star production work because, yeah, this is the bop the baby should have been asking for.
Suffering from first class cabin fever. 5-hour layovers from Norway to Egypt.
But to B.o.b's credit, the song gets even more of its strengths just from him. And that's really a positive because in terms of lyrical content, this song technically had 2 chances to make this top 12 list. It just so happened that other chance went under a different title called International Love.
You can't catch me, boy. I'm overseas at about 100 G for sure.
Yeah, this song came close to making this list. It's among Pitbull's best hit songs, showing an immense appreciation for all the places he's been to and all the life experiences he's gotten from that. But with no shock whatsoever, Chris Brown brought it down.
You put it down, New York City, I never sleep while like Los Angeles.
By default, this is the best song he made all year and far from his worst guest chorus, but for a song called International Love, the fact it never mentions another freaking country and instead just other US cities is redundant and moronic. But if you want to do what International Love tried doing properly, So Good genuinely achieves that goal. I'm serious, look at these lyrics.
Drinking a German beer with a Cuban cigar in the middle of Paris with a Dominican bar.
Yeah, that's the 3rd song in a row on this list to reference Paris. Very good year for that city in American pop music.
Great head on her shoulder, she probably studied abroad. She transferred to Harvard from King's College in March.
But yeah, this contains all the culture Chris Brown couldn't accommodate and with a much more likable personality attached to it as well.
I'm feeling single, baby, I could use a feature. Swagger like Caesar, I'll get you a visa. We can go to Italy and maybe see the Coliseum. I'll be Da Vinci if you be my Mona Lisa.
This is what I've been missing since B.o.b's departure, that likable Zach Morris style charm. He knows how to crack a joke, but also knows how to make every day feel like Valentine's Day for every girl too.
Anything you want, it's yours. I have you living life like you should. Just say you never had it so good.
This might be the cleanest rap song I've heard in a long time too. That shouldn't really matter in any way, but it does make it astonishing I haven't heard it more on local radio stations. Granted, said stations don't play a lot of rap to begin with. Heck, they censor out Snoop Dogg's verse in California Girls. But this is legit a PG-rated song at the highest. I can't believe I wasn't more aware of it before this retrospective. You could practically call it educational even.
Michelangelo with the flow, Picasso with the bars. She's well put together like a piece by Gershwin. Renaissance style, tonight is picture perfect.
With all the classic art references thrown around in it, it makes me feel like I took a time travel trip with Mr. Peabody. Who was that kid who went with him? Nice name. I have no idea why I just said that.
Have you living life like you should? You say you never had it so good.
It's also flattering too. I feel like this could have been the song Aladdin sang to Princess Jasmine on that magic carpet, and it would have done the same trick as A Whole New World had. I can't help but smile whenever this song comes on. Not just because it's delightful, but also partially out of one line I find unintentionally hilarious.
Singular, how about let's make it plural? Spin the globe, wherever it lands, that's where we'll go.
Repeat what he just said there.
How about let's make it plural? Spin the globe, wherever it lands.
You heard him. You heard him say it. B.o.b. at some point in his life acknowledged that the globe exists. Hey, all I said was, let's forget about the flasher jokes for a second, not forever. This song deserves so much more love. I'm sure it has plenty, but I was flabbergasted at how much better it makes me feel every time it comes on. A song like this has no right to be as good as its own title would imply, but it managed to be that with almost effortless charisma. And I'm sure to have it on repeat whenever I board my next international flight. Not that I'm going on one anytime in the near future. Oh yeah, that's happening. There are flight attendants who don't travel this much. Number 7. So my last pick was a #1 best hit song of 2012 for Mark Griner from Spectrum Pulse, one of the biggest music creative YouTubers of all time. And my next pick is the #1 best hit song of 2012 by the other biggest. You flatter me. No, it's Taught in the Shadows. How was 2012 this f***ing outstanding? Yeah, as much as something like So Good makes me feel insert title, I need that shift of emotion to keep exercising my soul. And a song where Drake consoles Rihanna, the latter taking the role of an overly adventurous party girl with a bad reputation, and the former taking the role of a man showing he wants to give her a chance anyways, gives my soul enough exercise to where I could take a whole year off from the spiritual gym.
I've asked about you and they told me things, but my mind didn't change and I still feel the same.
Okay, I make this song sound like a massive experience, but that's not actually how it feels when listening to it. It's so calm and quiet. It's more like a massage in my soul than an active workout.
I've loved and I've lost.
The delicate piano chords used on this beat just wash over my state of mind so cleanly. It's so beautifully therapeutic. And that's even with the lyrics going over the details they do.
What's a life with no fun? Please don't be so ashamed. I've had mine, you've had yours. We both know, we know.
When Drake sings about how Rihanna's past isn't something he cares about, I know he means it. Because he's implicitly telling us he's had a similar past.
You won't ever have to worry. You won't ever have to hide. And you've seen all my mistakes. So look me in my eyes.
And whenever Rihanna's done that would provoke such scorn, of course wouldn't faze him because he's been in her shoes. Who wouldn't be captivated by a relationship with such a shared viewpoint like that?
You're not free to make your own choices.
Sometimes you feel so...
You're just
Trapped.
How did I reference Aladdin and Jasmine 2 segments in a row? Well, because those two are ridiculously likable, and that chemistry translated here as well.
They won't get you like I will. My only wish is I die real, cause that truth hurts and those lies heal, and you can't sleep thinking that he lies still.
And beyond the intricate orchestration and thoughtful lyrics, Drake and Rihanna give some of the best performances of their entire careers.
If you let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you.
Rihanna sounds so downtrodden, and it even reflects the statements I think Drake is trying to say, but even more simplified. It's like singing to the world's smartest mirror. And Drake in turn plays up a more casual, consummate approach.
We all have our nights though, don't be so ashamed. I've had mine, you've had yours, we both know, we know.
He doesn't even have to say how familiar Rihanna's story is to his, because you can hear it in his voice. And during every one of their verses, their words are crisper than a potato chip fresh out of the bag. God, am I gushing again? This is so embarrassing. I am embarrassed of how much I love this song. Not on your life. This is Mary Poppins level, practically perfect in every way.
It's my birthday, I get high if I want to, can't deny that I want you.
But man, do I want to call it perfect. I guess the one part that makes it not perfect is that Drake is momentarily being critical of Rihanna's choices. At least when leaning towards unsupportive friends for help.
One time been in love, one time, you and all your girls in the club one time. Also convinced that you're following your heart, cause your mind don't control what it does sometimes.
Which does detract from this song's thesis, but ever so slightly. And even then, it almost makes sense to show that side here, like the insecurities Rihanna might be feeling inside.
Cause you don't say you love me to your friends when they ask you, even though we both know that you do, you do.
This whole song sounds like that scene from Pixar's Soul. You know, that breakdown 22 was going through in the climax.
You're dishonest. All you make are bad decisions. You are unwise and you won't make it in the world. Selfish. No one would ever want to be around you.
And when I've compared this song to three, count them, 3 of the best films ever in Disney's lineups, that should tell you how much I love it. And it didn't even crack my top 6. I cannot wait for part 2. But before we get to part 2, yes, this year was so good, I'm expanding my honorable mentions as well. You're gonna get 9 in part 2 of my best of list, and 9 right now. Let's go. This is no hymn for the weekend, but it is a solid replacement for it if a nationwide talent show asked for their own version, which for the record is exactly what happened here, and I can't act like I don't hear it.
Make you glad you came. The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts.
I mourn the loss of wanted group member Tom Parker, who died of an inoperable brain tumor earlier this year, and his passing puts a whole new light on the Wanted's biggest hit, Glad You Came, because, yeah, I'm glad these guys were a thing, even if only for a little bit. Okay, full disclosure, the next 3 songs I talk about are all basically joke songs, if not outright joke songs, so I'm just gonna start the song that literally has comedy under one of its genres just to set the tone.
Red Solo Cup, I fill you up, let's have a party.
If you were to ask me why I think this song is genius and funny, it's because I actually don't drink. Like, at all. I mean, after turning 21, I tried being inebriated, and it was cool, but not cool enough to counteract the downsides alcohol can lead to, at least in my opinion. So for me to find it funny how close a relationship Toby has with his goblet for Budweiser is a testament.
Red Solo Cup, you're not just a cup.
No, God, no.
You're my friend.
Friend. Lifelong.
Thank you for being my friend.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
I wonder what would have happened had a war between the BTS army and Psy ever broke out. Personally, I think Psy would have had the potential to psych them out completely. Maybe that's why he's called that. Also, I should point out, Psy was really famous even before he became the king of YouTube, and don't take that from me, take that from the former UN Secretary General.
Somebody told me that I'm the most famous Korean in the world. Now I have to relinquish that title to you, but I have no regret.
Hey, game recognizes game, I respect that.
Slap it on my ass.
I mentioned being okay with Nicki's sellout songs from 2012 that weren't starships, but it's nice to see her on a song that does still fit her persona, and with a hysterical delivery alongside it.
Kiss my ass and my anus, cause it's finally famous, and it's finally solved. Yeah, it's finally solved. I don't know, man, kiss them ass shots wore off.
Not to discount Big Sean, as this is his song, but Nicki kinda steals the show. I'd be lying if I claimed otherwise. And now for something I don't normally do, a song so bad, it's best list worthy.
Back in time.
Yes, you're seeing this correctly. Back in Time by Pitbull is an honorable mention for my best hit songs of 2012. It's not on the list officially, I haven't gone completely insane yet, but yeah, this song is terrible, but to an enjoyable degree. And normally that wouldn't spare a song from anything outside of bad tier quality anyways, because the badness technically outweighs whatever positive outlooks I get from it, but I just kind of love it too much to even consider it worthless material by any measure.
Carry aboard a record breaker, won't you? Give credit where credit is due. Don't you know that I don't give a number two? I don't play football, but I've touched down everywhere. I don't play baseball, but I've hit a home run.
And yeah, here's the other Pitbull year-end hit. Nope, he only had two, that third one doesn't exist. And even though it turns my stomach to have Chris Brown anywhere near a best of list, we can't act like this is his worst material, just among his stupidest. Look, if it were about nationwide love, I'd be fine with this, but that has nowhere near the same ring to it.
Down in DR, they looking for visas. I ain't talking credit cards, if you know what I mean.
But gripes aside, this is a very infectious party song that does express some warm sentiments for all the travels Pitbull has had over the years. And besides, it is a lot better than Back in Time anyways, despite my adoration of it. But if you thought that was the most shocking honorable mention, you'd be dead wrong. In 50 different ways, no less.
That's cool, but if my friends ask where you are, I'm gonna say she was caught in a mudslide, eating lion. Got a brand new man, crappy purple Zion.
Yeah, even Train were capable of good quality work in 2012. I mean, their biggest fault being Pat Monahan's clown horn voice is still prevalent, but he put so much passion into how pathetic his latest conquest was, not even being able to admit he got dumped.
My pride still feels the sting. You were my everything.
I like to think this was the sequel to Drive-By, and after how loathsome that song was, he figured he had no lore to go, so why not just make an ass out of himself? And he did so, but in one of the slappiest choruses of the entire year, and that's saying something.
That's cool, but if my friends ask where you are, I'm gonna say she went down in an airplane, fried, getting suntan, fell in a cement mixer full of quicksand. Help me, I'm no good at goodbye.
And as of this best of list, this is technically their last released single to make a year-end list, so what a way for them to go out on. And speaking of notes to go out on, we have one more honorable mention in this segment, and after the head bopping I was just doing, I could do with a little bit of relaxing.
Is this thing on? Word.
So what, we get drunk. So what, we smoke weed. We're just having fun. we don't care who sees.
This is another song that forgives a lot of Bruno's earlier hits. Again, if you like Grenader It Will Rain, more power to you, but they reached a level of intensity even my speakers couldn't handle. But this is the cool, smooth Bruno we heard on Nothing On You's chorus, and it is a welcome return to form.
So what, we go out, that's how it's supposed to be. Living young and wild and free.
But of course, the main act of Snoop Dogg and WK make for one of the best MJ endorsing bromances I've ever heard in my life.
And I don't even care, cause if me and my team in here, it's gonna be some weed in the air. Tell 'em, Mac. Blowing everywhere we going, and now you knowin' when I step right up, get my lighter so I can light up.
I have no ambitions of smoking weed or anything else smokable ever in my life, just a personal preference, but I'm happy a song like this exists just so MJ has a spokesperson that endorses the drug in the way it should be endorsed. Reefer Madness and Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue, this should be the first thing people think of when they think of marijuana-based media. It's among the best work I've seen from all three of these performers, and it was just edged out by all the songs I talked about here, and 6 other songs I'll be talking about next time. Stay tuned, and stay safe.
So what, we go out, that's how it's supposed to be. Living young and wild.